So I went away with the wife yesterday, and we saw something called Royal Flush Septic Services. I'm not making this up. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronx sexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Time to get this party started, and I hope y'all had a wonderful New Year's celebration. Good morning. Welcome to the Taco Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning, presented in part by BetUS.com. Hey, the NFL playoffs are right around the corner. The national championship has been set, and you want to make some extra money, don't you? Of course you do. What you do is you go to BetUS.com, use the code Snowman, and you'll get a 125% deposit match on your deposit. Log on to BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Speaking of games, we will talk about the national championship game. I will welcome the Playmaker, Darnell Sallins. I had so much fun yelling yesterday that my voice gave out. Apologies for the last-minute change yesterday. Had planned to go on, but then my wife came in and said, you need to go see your niece with me. So I did. Family first before any and everything. And while I locate my glasses, here's the whip around presented by Fanatics. And we start in my hometown of Chicago, where the Bears have clinched the number one pick in the 2024 NFL draft, thanks to the trade with the Carolina Panthers. On Sunday, the Bears clinched said number one pick thanks to the deal that Carolina swung with Chicago last March to move to the top spot in April's draft. As part of the deal, the Panthers parted with their first-round pick this year, as well as wide receiver DJ Moore, a 2023 first and second-round selections, and a 2025 second-round choice. With the Panthers' loss to Jacksonville and the Arizona Cardinals' 35-31 win over the Philadelphia Eagles, that first-round pick is guaranteed to be first in April's draft. Now the speculation can begin because I believe the Bears are going to mess it up again. Nick Sirianni says the Eagles need to get fixed fast. Yeah, that all began with a visit from San Francisco when y'all got socked in the mouth, wound up losing 3 in a row, and then you lost to the Arizona Cardinals, which clinched the number 1 seed for the San Francisco 49ers. I will talk a lot more about that later on in the show. The new United Football League is a merger of the XFL and the USFL, and there will be 8 teams that will kick off the season on March 30th with a clash between the XFL champion Arlington Renegades and the 2023 USFL champion Birmingham Stallions. And boy, that's going to be so much fun. I'm going to enjoy not only watching the United Football League, but also covering it. Details later. Lamar Jackson's perfect passer rating helps the Ravens clinch the number 1 seed with a 56-19 rout. I said it, rout of the Miami Dolphins, which proves to me that the Miami Dolphins are nothing but a bunch of frauds, which is something I kind of figured as I fight off a sneeze, which is something I kind of figured a while back. Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson finally settled their beef, with Jimmy Johnson being inducted into the Ring of Honor, an honor that was long overdue. I mean, you're talking about the coach that led your team to 2 consecutive Super Bowl victories. The stupidest thing Jerry Jones have done, and why the Cowboys are in the dirt right now, letting Jimmy Johnson go. A Snowman's take for later in the week. Last but not least, LeBron James, dear Lord, fumes over an official's ruling on what was an apparent 3-point field goal. On the day he turned 39, he was still capable of hitting a clutch shot in crunch time. No doubt about that. As the clock ticked down the final seconds Saturday night with the Lakers trying to rally against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Johnson nailed what he thought was a game-tying 3-pointer, but officials said his foot was ever so slightly on the line, effectively sealing the Lakers' fate. LeBron was livid, pleading unsuccessfully for replay to overturn the call in the locker room after the 108-106 loss. He was still steaming, and excuse me for that sniffle. It's obvious it's a 3. My foot was behind the line. You can see the space between the front of my foot and the 3-point line, James said. Stevie Wonder could see that, champ. Well, no. Because your foot was on the line, LeBron. I watched that replay 100 times. Your foot was on the line. Deal with it. Because, yes, LeBron, it is you. It has always been you. It always will be you forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen.
This moment of bronze sexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronze sexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YO-KAY. Real LJPN, now approve all this.
I'm sorry, I got a little button happy. And I'll do more on that as I try to set my microphone up here, because I kind of pulled out the old mixer. I think I know what the problem is. More on that tomorrow. But for now, that's the Whip Around presented by Fanatics. A break, and when you all get back, The national championship has been set, and we'll look at it from the standpoint of the participating teams. The Michigan Wolverines and the Washington Huskies. And also after the break, I will welcome the Playmaker, the man, the myth, no myth, the man, the legend himself, the hardest working man in content creation, the Playmaker, Darnell Sallins. We will break down game 1 of the national championship semifinals between the Michigan Wolverines and the Alabama Crimson Tide, in which Nick Saban's fate has been sealed. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Cause we take this job so serious.
The is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
The incomparable Wise. And remember, folks, that happened live on the air, and it turned into a great bump. Thanks to Cole Johnson for making that happen. This portion of Snowman in the Morning is presented in part by BetUS.com. BetUS.com, where the game begins. And last night, the Saban era, I believe, ended, although I know someone that will disagree.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic black. I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program.
The Playmaker is with us this morning. Good morning, my friend. How do you feel?
Good morning. Wish we would have done this yesterday morning, like it was planned.
Yeah, it was planned.
Because you got something to celebrate. I got something to celebrate.
Oh, we got a bunch of things to celebrate. The Playmaker joins us on this Taco Tuesday morning, this terrific Tuesday morning.
Or my number day anyway.
In many ways, this Victory Tuesday morning. And what we're going to concentrate on is the first half of the college football playoff between the Michigan Wolverines and the Alabama Crimson Tide. I will cede the floor to Playmaker first when I ask a simple 2-word question. What happened?
A lot happened. I mean, the first half was sloppy.
You think?
The first half, Alabama was fortunate.
Alabama was very fortunate. I mean, they were so fortunate during the first half.
And then the second half, Michigan was fortunate.
Who do you think was more fortunate? Michigan. I'll agree. I will agree. I will agree.
Inside your 5-yard line.
Uh-huh.
And you're happy to get on that ball? You are very fortunate.
I'll agree.
Because if you do not, if you're gonna get Alabama the ball inside the 5-yard line.
That was game, set, match.
Inside the 5-yard line?
Mm-hmm.
With the game on line?
With the game hanging in the balance.
You were done.
Mm-hmm. They were done for.
So
they were absolutely done for.
So Michigan was very fortunate because you know why? You go in overtime and you give the ball to the best player on the field.
And someone who should have been invited to the Heisman Trophy celebration. Mr. Blake Corum finished the night with 19 carries, 83 yards, and the lone score in overtime as Michigan moves on to the national championship game by a final of 27-20.
Now here's the problem that I have when it comes to
Alabama. They're done. No, I'm kidding. They're the Saban era is finished.
You come out.
I'm kidding.
Of course, Jim Harbaugh calls his timeout. Okay, I see what formation they're in. Let's discuss the formation, what possible play they could be in.
Mm-hmm.
You come out, you line up again. Nick Saban says, call timeout. Okay, I see what Michigan's doing. Let me give my offensive coordinator. You see what they're doing? Mm-hmm. All right, what's the game play? Because Nick Saban gonna call plays on either side. He is the head man in charge. Okay?
He is,
and he lets his DC coordinator, his DC and his OC do their job.
Yes, he does.
He got to give Nick Saban that. He let the people that he let them do their job.
Mm-hmm.
He's the overseer. He wanted to make sure. All right, is that the right thing to do? Okay. Why did you call a quarterback draw on 4th down?
And 3.
Michigan knew what was coming.
No, yeah, they did.
They did. Like, they gonna put it in Merrill's hands. He gonna try to run
because Milrose has been doing it the entire second half of the year. Heck yeah, they were ready.
Did you see how quick they shot that gap?
Yep,
they shot that gap quick
in a hurry, and they knew the exact gap they needed to shoot. They filled it up. Alabama's turned away. Game over. Michigan to Houston.
You call that on 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 3rd down. You called it on 3rd down. Okay, we're gonna call this on 3rd down. See what we need. You needed. I think you needed 3 yards.
Yep. They needed
8 men in the box. They said we're gonna man up outside. Put 8 men in the box.
Yep.
And you called a quarterback draw.
They did.
See,
they called a quarterback draw.
I think one thing that we don't see a lot in college football
is
QB seeing a defense
and
having the green light to check it out. They check out the play.
Because
clearly, if you told Merrill, all right, if you see too many men in the box, check out of it. This is the next play we're going to, and everybody's on the same page. You can give you opportunity to throw the ball.
Yeah,
that's opportunity. They knew what was coming.
They sure did.
That's why I say they are fortunate because imagine if the punt return don't fall on that ball.
Yeah.
Did you see the Michigan fans in the crowd? I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, you want to talk about?
They had flashbacks.
A phrase that's commonly used: holding their collective breath. They were holding their. You want to talk about the entire state of Michigan holding their collective breath? Bingo, right on that play.
It was like, no, we can't. Not a third time. Not a third time.
Like not a third time. Exactly.
But they got out of it, and I'm gonna give JJ McCarthy his flowers.
Please do.
3 touchdown passes.
And that's a former. That's a former, and that's a Chicagoan, folks. That's a former Nazareth Roadrunner.
He made, if I recall, I think he made one mistake.
That's
and
all.
He was fortunate because the cornerback actually stepped out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
If he wouldn't have stepped out of bounds, that was a pick.
That was a pick.
And that's the first play of the game. That game could have went differently off the first play of the game.
If that's a pick, the first play of the game, Alabama runs away and hides. I really believe that. If that's a pick, the first play of the game, Alabama runs away and hides. As it stood, it was an incompletion.
So after that, he didn't make no more mistakes after that.
No, he didn't. He ran that offense beautifully. And Blake Corum, God bless him, it took him a while to get started. But as the game got longer, Corum got stronger. Now, I want to ask you this. Why wasn't Corum invited to the Heisman Trophy celebration? I've got to have an answer to that.
See, this is one of those because I can actually put the NFL in this. We all know who's going to win the MVP. There's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of bringing in anybody else? The MVP is locked.
This is true.
We knew
no argument.
And so guess what? We knew a quarterback was winning the Heisman. It was a done deal. It was a quarterback.
And they invited all quarterbacks, I believe, to the
except for Myra Harrison Jr.
Except for Myra Harrison Jr.
And which I understand because that he is the best receiver in the country.
Indeed.
But we knew it was going to a quarterback. I thought it was going to be Penix because he just beat Bo Nix twice.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
I thought it would be Penix myself, and I had predicted that Penix would win the Heisman Trophy. I said MVP. Would win the Heisman because he beat Bo Nix twice.
But then
for that reason alone, he would win the Heisman.
But when you look at Jaden Daniels' numbers, good gracious.
The one game where he had 375 yards passing and over 200 yards rushing sealed the deal for him. Yeah. It put it in the book. All right, to use the great Howie Rose, voice of the Mets, that put it in the book, and you couldn't do a thing about it.
Speaking of going back down memory lane, that's one I don't want to go back down on.
Why? I said put it in the book, and you bristle at me. Why? What did I say?
And what you said, it's that game that you're referring to is. Yeah, that's the problem.
What game am I referring to?
When he broke the record, that man literally counted for over 600 yards and 5 touchdowns in one game.
Oh, because that came against your Gators.
Yep.
Okay, well, let me mention it again. 375 yards passing and over 200 yards rushing. A one-man wrecking crew. And 52 points.
They needed, and the crazy thing is, they needed those points too.
They needed every single one of those 52 points.
Hey, we might have lost, but then he had to win that for them.
Oh yeah,
because we gave them a fight.
You gave them everything, but Jaden Daniels was just too much. Now with Michigan being in the national championship game for the first time since 1997.
They are the favorites, no matter who.
They are the favorite. Who doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter
It didn't matter if it was Washington. It didn't matter if it was Texas. They're the favorites.
They are the clear favorites.
They were favored against Alabama by 2.5. And when you beat Nick Saban, that holds a lot of weight in Vegas.
Yeah, it does. And it's going to hold a whole lot. It's going to be a whole lot more. They're going to hold a whole lot more in Vegas. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter whom they play. It doesn't matter if they play the fast break offense of Texas or the faster break offense of Washington. Michigan is going to do what they did to Washington State in 1997, and that's grind it down to a halt and grind it down to a
And if I'm the NCAA, I'm mad as hell right now.
Because
y'all did all this to this team. You got the Big Ten involved, and now that team got over the hurdle of all hurdles. Yeah, we seen this a lot in sports. When that team finally gets over that hurdle, it's smooth sailing the rest of the way.
Yep.
And I have a feeling,
just like a certain team did on Sunday, but I will not mention
on January 8th
in Houston,
Texas.
Houston.
Sorry, Coach Johnson. The Michigan Wolverines will be hosting the national championship. They got over the hurdle. They got over the hurdle. It's done.
And
guess what?
We shall see.
And guess
my
what?
next 3 words are we shall see.
And guess what? Jim Harbaugh gonna look at y'all and tell y'all instantly, y'all can kiss my you know what
and walk away. So who would he be the coach of? The Chargers?
I don't know, because there's been word going around that Michigan has a big offer for Mr. Harbaugh.
Okay.
So we don't know. But if he does go to the NFL, it better be the Chargers.
I don't think it'll be the Chargers.
Unless they're gonna bring the Godfather in the NFL, but
I don't think so. I don't think it'll be the Chargers, but I also think that due to the lack of logic, there's a certain city that thinks he's going to go there, and I'm talking about my hometown of Chicago. And it ain't going to happen because they already made the announcement that Matt Eberflus, and I still want to know what the heck an Eberflus is going to stay for another season.
See that right there should tell me Justin Fields is still going to be there, because you don't keep the head coach and leave and lose the quarterback.
You know what? I'm going to say something very, very blasphemous to some dear friends in my hometown, but I want them to hear me and hear me well. Justin Fields should be traded.
And he's not saying that because he doesn't like Justin Fields. He's saying Justin Fields.
I'm saying Justin Fields should never have been drafted by a weak A organization such as the Chicago Bears. You know, and all of the, well, I guess you can call it trolling that I've done to my friend Andre Morgan, and he doesn't seem to get the fact that I am trolling the organization, not Justin Fields. Although Justin Fields, for me, as a quarterback, leaves a lot to be desired.
I will say this: the team that they just beat, that city want him down now.
And I hope they don't get him.
I'm just pointing that
out. I know. I know. I know. Atlanta wants him bad. Okay.
Before I give out flowers of the NFL, you did tell me you had another college team that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah. The team that forced Gene Decker off into college football announcing retirement. The team that barked and, I can't use the word because it'll be a quarter in the swear jar, and whined but y'all know the word I'm filling in the blank with. That barked and beat and whined and moaned about we should be in the college football playoff. You got drilled in Miami by some dogs. Bulldogs, that is.
I don't know.
Got absolutely smoked, and I couldn't be happier.
I don't know if Snowman saw my post because he's a busy man. But after that game, I made a little lengthy post, which I normally don't do, and he'll tell you that.
No, you don't.
I usually don't make a lengthy post, but I made a lengthy post on this one. And the first sentence that I put,
was,
as you saw what happened here in the Orange Bowl, you seen two different philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
On the Florida State side. No, let me go to the Georgia side, because Georgia was the actual division team. The Georgia side, the Georgia Bulldogs, they were mad. They won 29 straight games. They ain't lost a game during their 3 years until they faced Alabama in the SEC championship game. Yep. So out of 30 games, they lost one game. 30 games, they lost one game. They went from 4. They went from number 1, the number 1 team in the land the whole entire time. The number 1 from the AP poll to the CFP poll, Georgia was number 1 the entire time up until Alabama. Mm-hmm. They went from 1 to 6.
And that's the CFP waiting for the other shoe to drop.
1 to 6.
To 6. That was the CFP waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Now, there's for
you cannot tell me otherwise.
Okay, no. Before I even get to the Florida State fan, let me keep going. So 1 to 6, all right? Mm-hmm. They said, Kirby Smart said, okay, this is what we gonna do. All right. Yeah, we lost to Alabama, okay? But everybody know everybody in their mama, their grandmama, their cousin, their sister, their brothers, whatever. No. If you say the best 4 teams, Georgia is in one of those 4 slots.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no debate about it.
I thought they dropped to 4. I thought they would drop to 4. At the very at best, I thought they dropped to 2 behind an undefeated Michigan team. At worst, I thought they would drop to 4. At worst. But because everyone waited for the other shoe to drop with Georgia for them to finally lose, and it just happened to be against Alabama, they put Alabama in the playoff and kicked out the dog.
Okay, so that's Georgia. Georgia said, okay, we know we won the best 14. We're going to go out here. We're going to go down to Miami, and we're going to prove to y'all and the committee we won the best 4 teams. That's Georgia's. Florida State side, the home team.
If you want to call them that. It didn't sound
They whine, they complain, they upset. Nobody said they had no right to be. Mm-hmm. You went undefeated. You won all your games.
But you didn't play anybody.
You won, you complained, you did everything that nobody fault you for complaining. Nope. We don't fault you complaining. We don't fault you.
No.
You won all your games. So we understand. You won an opportunity. You won all your games. You didn't get a blemish. But you won, you complain. And then all of a sudden, everybody want to opt out.
Yep.
Guys, backup quarterbacks want to transfer.
Yep.
And by the way, NCAA, y'all better fix this goddamn transfer portal.
Quick.
Immediately.
Quick.
Why is players allowed to transfer while the season is still going?
Mm-hmm.
This season is not over.
Oh, by the way, this marks the second consecutive New Year's Six Bowl where Georgia has scored 60+ points.
Yeah. Now, you said all that you want to complain, and you got your doors blown off of you. You got your doors blown off you by 60. Now that I said the table, let me get you Florida State fans.
Oh.
All y'all who want to come after me for putting that post out there, I said what I said. I meant what I said because I showed you the difference of two philosophies. Kirby Smart said, we're going to show y'all who the best 14. It had nothing to do with them losing to Alabama.
Nothing.
The committee from the start of this whole playoff system said, we want the best 4 teams. But somehow y'all can't get the word best in y'all head and y'all keep thinking deserving. It's not the same thing. They are literally 2 different things.
Mm-hmm.
If they were doing deserving, I wouldn't say a word against Florida State one bit. Because you know why? You won all your games. You deserve to have opportunity. But that's not what the committee said when they put this thing together. They said they want the best four teams. Georgia ain't mad about losing to Alabama. They mad because they are one of the best four teams and they got left out. They dropped 5 spots after being number 1 the entire season.
By the way, Florida State fans, I will drop one stat as we're closing in on a break. I will drop one stat and one stat only about this game. 673 total yards. Let me say that again for those of you in the cheap seats at the old Gator Bowl. Run, Lindsay, run. 673 total yards. And I won't hear a peep out of them.
You going to, because they still complaining. They even complained after the game. Oh, Alabama didn't deserve to do that. They did. They went in overtime with Michigan.
All I have to say once again, I'll go one step further. I know this. I said this only said I'll mention this one too. 372 rushing yards. 372.
See, I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing, but you ain't got to go that far. Did you hear the press conference by Kirby Smart?
Yep.
And he was the one who beat you by 60.
Mm-hmm.
And he was peed off after the game.
Mm-hmm.
When have you seen a head coach peed off after winning by 60?
Matter of fact, this is what he said, and I quote, "People need to see what happened tonight, and they need to fix this. It needs to be fixed. It's very unfortunate that they, who have a good football team, are in the position they're in. Everybody can say it's their fault. Everybody can say we had our guys and they didn't have their guys. I can listen to all that, but college football has got to decide what they want. It's really unfortunate for those kids on that side of the sideline that had to play in the game that didn't have their full arsenal, and it affected the game 100%. Close quote.
That's the winning head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Who beat you by 60?
In the biggest blowout in bowl game history. Biggest blowout in bowl.
And remember, and with people, I guess people don't know how to read these days because I did say 2 different philosophies, right?
You did. Out loud.
Kirby Smart said, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to coach my boys up and we're going to go play to win this game. At the same time, I'm going to question the integrity of the NCAA.
And I don't blame him. Let me say that again. I don't blame him. For me, the integrity of the NCAA has been questioned for a long time. And anybody who has studied national championships, the only year I have to mention it to you is 1984. And that's controversy.
Now, before I get out of here on this short edition of my visit on my normal day, hey, I got to go to work. Sorry.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Number 1 team in the NFC. Congratulations.
Thank you. Although we're going to be minus McCaffrey on Sunday, but we got a pretty good.
Who cares? Who cares? Y'all are the number 1 seed. Y'all have a bye week coming to you.
2 of them actually.
You can say 2.
I'm gonna say 2.
I'm not gonna say 2 because we're in. I told y'all. I told every last one of y'all.
You did, and I.
Y'all looked at me like I was crazy. I
didn't. I knew better. I do not doubt the playmaker when it comes to stuff like this. I can't. He's been on my show 2.5 years now doing this.
Told you. We're in. Yeah, told you. Now, I ain't get the win total right, but I ain't that much off because they won 9 games. I was at 11. They won 9. They might win 10. That's by the fact that that team in Santa Clara ain't playing their players. But if I know Sean,
Yeah, you still not gonna. Yeah, okay.
Oh no. Hey, the last time I was on the show, I said San Francisco. Okay.
Then you need to say it again.
No, I'm going back to my normal routine now.
No, you need to say it again.
Now, if I know Sean McVay like I know Sean McVay,
you need to. Okay, then you're gonna say it in 1 week's time after we kick your butts again.
I still ain't gonna say it. That's when it started. Actually, that's actually how it started.
It is.
So why would I go back?
Right. Matter of fact, I can tell you, folks, I can tell you the exact week when it started. 2 years ago, week 18, after the loss by the Rams in overtime in Los Angeles, and we were half a team then. We were beaten up then.
That team is Santa Clara.
That's where it started. That's exactly where
I'm not a real petty person, but every now and then it's nice to be petty, and that's my petty moment.
But see, why? I'm going to ask a very dumb question while we close up shop, but I have to, and I'm doing this just to get a laugh out of you. Why are you being petty when it comes to that?
Because I can't stand y'all.
But why though?
Because y'all,
I'm asking.
Y'all do all this talking, and y'all the bullies on the block, and then all of a sudden, y'all never finish. Y'all never finish.
That will change.
I don't think so.
I'm throwing the first shot. That will change.
I don't think so.
We'll see.
The fact that we got in.
Mm-hmm.
People think I'm crazy. I'm telling you, San Francisco, they can beat anybody. We know this. They bullied the Cowboys. They bullied the Eagles. They've been bullying us in the regular season for the past 5 years.
And should we see you in Santa Clara in 3 weeks' time, we'll bully you.
But guess what? They want the Rams, and another half of them don't want the Rams. Because it's hard, and Snowman would tell you, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. It is difficult to beat a team 3 times.
You sound like a Seahawk fan I know who said the same thing to me last year, and we kicked their butts 3 times.
Oh no! I thought I brought that up 2 years ago, and what happened in the NFC Championship game?
Oh, y'all beat us.
Exactly.
17 points. 13 point fourth quarter.
You know the difference between the Rams and the Seahawks.
The Seahawks are busts.
Well, of course you want to go that far. They have a quarterback called Geno Smith.
Who?
The Rams have a quarterback called Matthew Stafford.
Wait. The Seahawks have a quarterback named who?
Geno Smith.
Who?
Exactly.
What? Wait. I didn't do it right. I didn't have my sound bite. I didn't have my sound ready.
The disrespect that he does? And he talk about me being petty. He stays petty.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What was Seattle's quarterback name again?
Geno Smith.
What?
Told you. He stays petty.
Do it again.
Petty. So, and we know this because Matthew Stafford can sling the ball. Matthew Stafford can put the ball in tight holes that you don't think it should be able to put in.
What?
I didn't get a chance to pick on you. I didn't get a chance to pick on you yesterday, so I'm doing it this morning. That's all.
You couldn't pick on me because thanks to the Seahawks losing to the Steelers, we got in. So I was like, hey, this is gonna be a great New Year.
I was happy the Steelers beat the Seahawks, okay? And to give you your flowers, congrats to the Rams getting in. And if I know Playmaker, all night he was singing because the Rams clinched.
Hey man, look at even people in Rams Nation didn't believe it. Okay, they said I was too optimistic.
Why?
They said I was being too optimistic.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, they said I was being too optimistic.
They were saying you were being too optimistic. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They didn't see us going to the playoffs.
Oh Lord, I knew better, man. I'm not even tripping. I knew better.
Because you know what? I came on the Snowman. You know, things don't change now. We in preseason. A lot has happened during the off season, and that has opened the door for the Rams.
It did. And it did. And I was not one to doubt.
Even when Cole was on here, Cole was like, you know what? You might be right. I might, and even Cole's like, I'll probably give them at most 9 wins.
Yep.
And I don't think
they're at 9, right? Well, they're at 9 right now.
I think Cole's like, I don't think that'll be enough to make the playoffs. It's enough to make the playoffs. which gives the host of Ramley Talk reason to say to doubters of Ram Nation,
you tripping.
Thank you, Cole Johnson, for that. Oh, man. We got some hockey coming for you this Friday as the Chicago Blackhawks face off against the New Jersey Devils. Yours truly will have the alternative play-by-play call. 6:30 is your stream time. 7 o'clock is your face-off time. And I apologize for not being able to bring last night's game to you like I had planned. Got away for the day. Needed to get away for the day. And Jody, honey, thank you for that. And thank you to the Playmaker for coming on. I really appreciate you, brother. I'll
see y'all next time.
I'll see you next time. Thanks, man. Oh, that's the Playmaker, Darnell Sallins. Coming up after the break, we'll break down the other semifinal game, the Texas Longhorns and the Washington Huskies. And I got an old friend that's going to drop by. Snowman in the morning, back in a flash.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, before we get to Texas and Washington, which I correctly thought would be a track meet and almost turned into a Texas miracle, let me be one of the first to show some love to the Professional Women's Hockey League. Follow them on all of their social media at the PWHL official. That's Instagram, that is Twitter, and TikTok for that ID. You know, they held their first game yesterday. New York beat Toronto 4-0. And one of the most historic events was the first goal scored, and that honor belongs to Ella Shelton. Ella Shelton scored at 10:43 of the first period to light the lamp for the very first time in the Professional Women's Hockey League. Now, they don't have any nicknames for their teams as of yet, and not that I have seen as of yet, but I expect that to change. And this is a league I'm going to love following along and watching and just having fun covering, because I got to be honest with y'all, I have been enamored with women's sports for a very long time. I told you, I've always loved women's basketball. I've loved women's basketball since 1982, when I saw the very first Final Four on CBS at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. I have covered women's sports for many, many years. In fact, most of the 28 years I have been active as a play-by-play announcer and as a journalist, I have covered women's sports. That's not going to change. That's going to continue. And this launch into the PWHL is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much. History making is history making would be an understatement. Let me also shout. Whoop, it went away. Corinne Schneider. Did I get that? I hope I got that right. Corinne Schneider, who pitched the first shutout in PWHL history. Alex Carpenter, Jill Saunier, I hope I got that right, and Kayla Vespa added goals 2, 3, and 4. They all came in the third period for New York as they win by a final of 4-0. And I hope the crowd that saw that particular hockey game was just all over the place. Now we will take our break, and when y'all get back, I will break down the second half of the college football playoff. Texas and Washington became a track meet. Who was the last team standing? Y'all will find out when y'all get back. Second half of Snowman in the Morning begins after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I keep forgetting to push that button. It's the second hour of Snowman in the Morning is brought to you by Recruiting Giants. Our mission is to connect exceptional talent with exceptional companies. We strive to provide innovative and tailored staffing solutions to help organizations build successful teams. By leveraging our expertise and extensive network of industry professionals, we aim to drive growth, foster long-term partnerships, and positively impact the success of both our clients and candidates. We are dedicated to delivering exceptional service, exceeding expectations, and becoming the preferred staffing partner for businesses looking to recruit top talent. For more information, email Mark Zanetto, my good buddy, at info@recruitinggiants.com or call 336-587-3659. That's 336-587-3659. Recruiting Giants, where talent meets opportunity. Well, speaking of opportunity, the Texas Longhorns had an opportunity to make a statement late last night in the Sugar Bowl. They had come back from 13 down. They got it to within 6, and they had the ball thanks to two absolutely incredible, thank you, Keith Jackson, catches that got them down to the 12-yard line. But they lost the game on 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. They foolishly did not go to A.D. Mitchell. And as I watched the broadcast last night, as I caught the tail end of the broadcast last night after I got in the house, they had a chance to run a double post with Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell, or Adonai Mitchell. I got to say it right. They had a chance to run that play because Washington had no defense for it. Instead, they throw it out into the flat, and their season went flat. Washington wins 37-31, and it is they, the Washington Huskies, that will take on the Michigan Wolverines in the national championship game next Monday night, January 8th in Houston, Texas. Man, let's look at some of the numbers from this track meet. Okay? And as I move, sorry about that. Quinn Ewers, 24-43, 318 yards. He threw a touchdown. CJ Baxter did all he could in the running game. He carried the ball 9 times for 64 yards plus a touchdown. Jatavian Sanders, 6 receptions for 75 yards. And that was pretty much it. The player of the game was Michael Penix Jr., the former Indiana star, who had thrown for 4,218 yards, 33 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, went 29 of 38, 430 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All told in this game, as I said, it was going to be a track meet. There was, and I want to be sure that I get this right, 1,030 yards, 498 for Texas, and 532 for Washington. 3 total turnovers, 2 by Texas, 1 by Washington. There was your difference. And Washington held the ball for 36 minutes and 20 seconds. When you put yourself behind after a back and forth first half where the game was tied at 21 at halftime, James McMillan gave Washington the lead for good, hauling in a 19-yard touchdown pass from Michael Penix. Grady Graves added a field goal, and at the end of 3, it was 31-21. Graves added a 40-yard field goal at the top of the fourth quarter, making it 34-21. And you would think at that time, game, set, match, all dogs. The Horns had something to say about that, as Adonai Mitchell caught a 1-yard pass from Quinn Ewers with 7:23 left, making it 34-28. Each team saw 2 extra possessions. And then Grady Graves' field goal with 2:40 left after a 10-play, 65-yard drive in 4:43 made it 37-28. Bert Auburn made it 37-31, and that completed the scoring. Texas lost the game twice, once in the third quarter and once when they didn't run that double post. They had a double post sitting right there. They had a double post sitting right there, and they didn't use it. Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, sitting right there. And yet you call a pass into the flat? Steve Sarkisian, what is wrong with you? Your national championship hopes were right in front of you. Had a chance to complete one of the greatest comebacks in bowl game history. And you didn't go with that play. You could have also run the ball up the middle. They had no answer for that either. Washington had to survive after they held a 13-point lead. 13-point lead. So now you have a rematch of 2 consecutive Rose Bowls of Michigan and Washington. 91 and 92, played in 92 and 93. Washington won the first one. Michigan won the second one. And as we talked about earlier, and I had a chance to talk with a friend of mine, Blake Corum should have been the Heisman Trophy winner hands down, but Jaden Daniels took care of that. Talked with the Playmaker earlier, and Jaden Daniels, as we both noted, took care of Blake Corum's Heisman bid. But he at least should have been invited. At least. But this is all about Michael Penix Jr., who was one of the invitees to the Heisman Trophy dance. 430 yards. 430. And he made it look so easy in the first 3.5 quarters. Of course, when you're Texas and you turn the ball over twice and Washington turns it into 10 points, then you basically give the game away. And that's exactly what the Texas Longhorns did. And I had called for Texas to win the game. I absolutely called for Texas to win the game. I wanted Texas to win. I wanted Texas to pull off that miracle. I did. But Washington was the better team. Washington has been the better team all year. They beat Oregon twice, which sealed their fate into the Final Four. Texas beat up Oklahoma State, which sealed their fate into the Final Four. But let me echo a point that the Playmaker and I talked about earlier in the program. You want to tell me how the Georgia Bulldogs, and I know this goes back to Georgia, but I want to highlight something that we talked about earlier, that the committee wanted. They wanted the 4 best teams in the national championship. Why didn't that include Georgia? And a theory that I have is that they were waiting for the other shoe to drop. They were waiting for Georgia to lose. They were waiting. I really, really, really believe that the committee was waiting for Georgia to lose. And because they did lose, they said, see, we can't trust Georgia to defend their title. So you throw Alabama into the mix. Texas gets in. Washington gets in. Now, on the flip side of that coin, I will say these 2 semifinal games were bleeping awesome, which they were. They were absolutely awesome. You can't deny that. You can't deny that at all. I just hope that when they go to 12 teams next year, they get the right teams in. You shouldn't have gone from 4 to 12. You should have gone from 4 to 8. Matter of fact, you should have started with 8. You should have started with 8 teams. But that's Division I college football, I guess. Finally going to a playoff. And then you get all kinds of insanity in the first 8 years of the college football playoff. But the last 2 years of the semifinal games were awesome. Who expected TCU to beat Michigan in Phoenix, Arizona? And who expected Georgia to go to the stroke of midnight to beat Ohio State? And then you have these 2 games. Michigan leading at halftime, trailing the entire second half, tying the game late, and then winning in overtime. And then you have Texas and Washington. You can expect those 2 to be back in the college football playoff again very, very soon. When I say very soon, I mean just that. even with everybody switching conferences, even with everybody getting a piece of the Big Ten pie or the Big 12 pie or whatever it is. And I have a message for Colorado. To be the champs, you got to beat the champs. And in terms of the Big 12 conference, Texas is the champs. So now you have a team that's going, and I need to retract that last statement because Texas is now going to the SEC. So I retract what I said to Colorado. My mistake. See, my brain is shot. Anyway, it's Michigan, it's Washington, it's the national championship, and I want to hear your thoughts. Whom do you think is going to hoist the national championship trophy in Houston, Texas? I'll give my prediction later on in the week. A pause, and when we come back, I'm going to slip in a little short version of that 49ers show as the Niners have clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Ravens the number 1 seed in the AFC, and we'll go over the entire playoff picture, and we'll try to answer some questions with the Philadelphia Eagles. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
And ever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to this edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us as this thing is acting up again. There it is. And I want to shout everyone listening on WIRUDB in Chicago, as well as WQEE in Atlanta and WLEO in Baltimore, Maryland. We got more stations coming along the way. And a shout to those of you watching on BS3 TV and Zebo TV, formerly CSTV out of Reno, Nevada. Now, this portion of Snowman in the Morning is brought to you by SeatGeek. Looking for the best way to experience live events? SeatGeek has you covered. With just a few taps on your phone, you can find the best seats for concerts, sports, theater, and more. Don't miss out on unforgettable moments. Download the SeatGeek app today and get ready for an experience like no other. Each ticket is vetted for authenticity and ranked on a 1 to 10 scale. And right now, if you use the code Snowman Multimedia, you will get $20 off of your first purchase. That's only through the power of SeatGeek, where fans can fan. Man, I never thought I would say this, But as we look at the NFL playoff picture, there are some teams that have clinched a spot right now that shouldn't be there, but yet they're there. And one of the teams is the Philadelphia Eagles. Because how can you go from being the let me pull up this picture right now. How can you go from being the number 1 seed to the number 5 seed? Well, when you lose 3 in a row, beginning at the hands of San Francisco, that tends to mess with you. Then you lose to, well, the 3-game losing streak that the Eagles suffered were at the hands of the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks. 2 of those 3 were on the road, at Dallas, at Seattle, which essentially wiped out the 3-game losing streak that the 49ers suffered. 2 of those 3 were on the road also, at Minnesota and at Cleveland. But thanks to the 49ers winning at Washington and losses by the Lions against the Cowboys on a very controversial 2-point conversion, which I believe should have stood up, and the Eagles losing to the Cardinals, the 49ers at 12-4 have locked up the number 1 seed, a complete opposite of where they were last year. Because last year we had to chase Philadelphia down after starting 3-4 and Philadelphia starting 7-0. Now they have to chase us. The road to Super Bowl 58 goes through not only Santa Clara, California, but also Baltimore, Maryland. 4 teams that are in the AFC, the Ravens at 1, Dolphins 2, Chiefs at 3, and the Browns at 5. In the NFC, Niners at 1, Cowboys at 2, Lions 3, Eagles 5, Rams 6. And congrats to the Rams for clinching their playoff spot, as Playmaker and I talked about earlier in the program. You know how advantageous this is for San Francisco and for Baltimore? There's only one off week. There's only one bye week, I beg your pardon, that's available in both conferences now with the advent of the stupid 7th seed. And yes, I said it, stupid. Be that as it may, it is there. And Baltimore and San Francisco now have the advantage of resting and getting healthy, especially with San Francisco, because we are going to be minus Christian McCaffrey for week 18 in a home game against the Rams. McCaffrey is dealing with a mild calf strain. Now we get a chance to get Eric Armstead back. We have a chance to get Juwan Jennings back. And quite a few other players that have been out dealing with injury. Juwan Jennings dealing with a concussion. We just got Elijah Mitchell back, and he came up huge for us in Washington. That running offense of San Francisco is something else. That running offense of San Francisco is something else, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. Niners beat the Washington Redskins 27-10 in a game that I did on Sunday. And they clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC. What surprised me, and I already talked about the Lions and how they seem to get screwed at the wrong time. Saturday night was the wrong time because apparently a tackle eligible should not have been a tackle eligible because it didn't report to the referee when it looked to me that he did. It totally looked to me that Taylor Decker reported to the referee for the Lions, caught the 2-point conversion, and then a late flag comes out for an illegal touch. What? I'll hit on that tomorrow. But I can't believe things fell the way that they fell. I thought it would go to a week 18 because the magic number for the 49ers was 2. They win their last 2 games, they get the number 1 seed, I beg your pardon. Especially after the embarrassing loss we took against the high-powered Baltimore Ravens on Christmas night. And in all honesty, my thoughts were that game put the number 1 seed in peril for San Francisco, in serious peril, because you had you had the moronic Republic of Cowboy Nation woofing at me. You had Philadelphia Eagle fans woofing at me, breathing down my neck, going, "Oh yeah, the Niners look vulnerable." Yes, we look quite vulnerable against the Baltimore Ravens. But you know the best part? There's the next game. And I can't believe Philadelphia choked a 21-6 lead against, of all teams, the Arizona Cardinals, a team that we beat up twice. As a matter of fact, we scored 80 points against the Arizona Cardinals. But you play the schedule that's been dealt to you, and you play the team that's in front of you. And I'm willing to bet that Philadelphia took Arizona very lightly. We weren't going to take Washington lightly, I'll tell you that. Even with this being the last stand of Riverboat Ron, or not, we don't know. Even with them facing a complete and total rebuild. It's a complete rebuild. It's a complete and total rebuild that has to go on in Washington. But the 49ers went in and took care of business. Brock Purdy said, quote, "It was sweet to be able to have that kind of moment," talking about the Niners' reaction after seeing Arizona beat Philadelphia to clinch the number 1 seed. It's the 10th time in franchise history, and first since 2019, when they last went to the Super Bowl, that the 49ers have sat atop the NFC. That's the most top seeds earned by any team in NFL history. 10 of them belonging to the 49ers. In the previous 9 years they were the top seed, they won the Super Bowl in 4 of them. 16, 19, 24, and 29. I nearly misspoke. Kyle Shanahan said, quote, "It's huge. These last couple of weeks, we've been just a little banged up. There have been a couple of positions that we've just been getting really thin at. Guys had to push through in a number of spots, and some of those guys are doing it. Hopefully this will help them out." Close quote. We already were without Aaron Banks, Eric Armstead, Jair Brown, as well as Jawan Jennings, as I remember, out with a concussion, and Ray McLeod was out with a rib injury. McCaffrey's departure in the third quarter with a right calf injury make things worse. He piled up 91 scrimmage yards to put his season over 2,000. He didn't return. I think it was, McCaffrey said, quote, "I think it was minor and just made the smart move, especially not knowing what was going to happen next week. I didn't just want to go in there and make it any worse. With certain things, you can't be dumb for it." Close quote. Thank you, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey made the smart move and came out. And plus, we got Jordan Mason as well as Elijah Mitchell. So we're going to be fine. We're going to run over the Rams next week, go into the bye, and even though Playmaker thinks different about his Rams, and I totally understand that, because they've given us all kinds of you-know-what at Levi's Stadium, I think the 49ers are going to run them to death. And there is a very good potential chance we could see the Rams for the NFC Championship. But they have to play 3 games. We only have to play 2. And they have to come to our house. And Shanahan is not one against resting guys. He said, quote, "We'll definitely try to rest some guys, but I mean, you can't rest everybody. It's too hard, and you don't have enough players So we've got to field a team without a doubt, but we're going to have a big week of practice. I still think there are lots of things we got to obviously get better at. And the only way to do that is playing football and practicing football. So we'll have a big Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, figure out our roster as the week goes on and decide what we'll do on Sunday, close quote. I get to laugh. I get to playfully laugh at Eagles fans because, like I said, we were chasing them all last year. Now they have to chase us. Brock Purdy, 22 of 28, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But you know the best part about this? He wasn't sacked once. And made one of the best plays of the year when he scrambled out to his right, looking for help, pointed to the end zone, and found Brandon Ayuk wide open in the end zone. Elijah Mitchell carried 17 times for 80 yards, plus a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 14 carries, 64 yards. Deebo Samuel carried 3 times for 35 yards. Brandon Ayuk, what a season for him. 7 receptions, 114 yards, plus a touch. Deebo Samuel, 5 for 37, plus a touchdown. George the Animal Kittle caught 3 for 29. McCaffrey, 4 for 27. Kyle Juszczyk caught 3 for 23. When this team is healthy, they are ever so dangerous. When this team is healthy, they are a juggernaut. Even with the way that, even with as much as they're beat up right now, they're a juggernaut. And I don't see anyone getting past them in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. Take a pause for a break, but a reminder, this Friday, got some hockey for you as the Chicago Blackhawks travel to the Prudential Center to take on the New Jersey Devils. 6:30 is your stream time. 7 o'clock is your face-off time. Pause for a break. When you all get back, there's a team in the AFC that deserves some love also. And they are in a situation where Saturday night could be a party night. I'll explain when y'all get back.
Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything. Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
The ID you need to follow us on social media is Snowman Multimedia. That's Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and SNWMN Multimedia on Twitter. There's a potential for a party in Indiana's capital city thanks to their victory over the Raiders this past Sunday, 23-20. They sit in the number 7 spot, and they have the simplest equation: win and in, as they host the Houston Texans on Saturday night at 8:15 from what is going to be the loudest, most raucous crowd at Lucas Oil Stadium in some time. In this victory over the Raiders, they led 14-0. The Colts did 17-10 at the end of 3 and won 23-20. Thanks to Gardner Minshew, 15 of 23, 224 yards. He threw a touchdown, did not turn the ball over. Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 96 yards plus a touchdown. And of course, their stable of running backs, including Tyler Goodson, Trey Sermon. Alec Pierce caught 1 for 58. Josh Downs caught a pair for 53. Michael Pittman Jr. in his return to the lineup caught 5 for 46 yards. Shane Steichen is the difference maker as a coach for the Indianapolis Colts. He has rallied this team after a 3-5 start. They won 4 in a row and have won 6 out of 8. They need to make it 7 out of 9 to clinch that 7th seed. And as I mentioned, it's the simplest equation. We've already beaten Houston once. That was down in Houston. Now we have to beat them at home. We have to beat the Texans at home, and they got C.J. Stroud back in the lineup. Well, the Colts terrorized him earlier in the year. The biggest piece that we got back to face off against the Houston Texans is Jonathan Taylor. And we got Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson, but we're missing Zach Moss. One of the other biggest pieces we got back is Michael Pittman Jr. You cannot afford to get cute against this Houston Texans defense, which has gotten better all season long. You can't afford to get cute because, as my buddy Victor says best, once you get cute, you're always going to get caught. And if that's the case, the Colts will be on the outside looking in. Take a look at the NFL playoff picture. 4, 6, and 7. The Jaguars holding on to the AFC South. They win. They're the AFC South champs. The Bills and the Dolphins will match up for the AFC East championship. And as mentioned, the Colts will take on Houston for that number 7 seed. Buccaneers and Packers, 4 and 7, are sitting right there. The Buccaneers are sitting pretty. Even after getting beat up by the New Orleans Saints. And the Packers, they draw the Bears. The Packers draw the Bears in Week 18. What can you say about that? The Packers draw the Bears in Week 18. And it would be so apropos for the Bears to get beat up by their big brother once again in Green Bay and clinch that number 7 seed. Let's go down the list. The clinch spots go to the Baltimore Ravens. They win the North, and they are the number 1 seed. The Chiefs are in at 10 and 6. They're the West Division champions. The Browns and Dolphins, both in 11 and 5, have playoff berths. The key games, the Bills are at Miami, and that is Sunday Night Football. Buffalo clinches the East Division title with a win or they clinch a playoff berth if they tie, or Pittsburgh loses or tie, Jacksonville loses or tie, and Houston and Indianapolis tie. But since I want Indianapolis to beat Houston, that ain't going to happen. The Texans at 9-7 face the Indianapolis Colts. Already went over that. Houston wins. Houston clinches the AFC South with a win plus a Jacksonville loss. They clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie and a Jacksonville loss and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. For the Colts, it gets a little more complicated. They clinch the South with a win or a Jacksonville loss or tie, or they tie Houston and Jacksonville loses. The simplest equation for the Colts: beat the Texans, they're in the playoffs. For the Jaguars, all they have to do to clinch the South is win. And they play the Tennessee Titans. That's at 1 p.m. on CBS. They clinch a playoff berth with a tie or Pittsburgh loss or tie. Not going to go through all the scenarios because all Jacksonville has to do is just beat up the Titans, and they'll claim the AFC South. Dolphins in Buffalo. Miami clinches the East with a win or a tie. All Buffalo has to do is just win. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are hanging on by a thread, they are at 9-7, and they go to Baltimore. And I don't even have to list all of this because Baltimore is going to run them over. That's Saturday, 4:30 on ESPN and ABC. To the NFC now, and the 49ers are in. They clinch the number 1 seed. They get a first round bye. The Lions are in. That's the North Division champions. The Cowboys are in with a playoff berth. So are the Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Falcons go to New Orleans. Atlanta, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, clinches the NFC South with a win and a Tampa Bay loss. The Cowboys situation, they go to Washington, and they clinch the NFC East with a win or a tie plus a Philadelphia tie or a Philadelphia loss. Now let's sort out this North Division mess. The Packers at 8-8 versus the Bears at 7-9. That's at 4:25 on CBS. Why does that remind me of the 80s when CBS had the NFC package? Green Bay clinches a playoff berth with a win. I'm not going to even go through all of the rest of the scenarios. The Vikings are at Detroit. Minnesota clinches a playoff berth, and all this has to happen. They need to win. Green Bay has to go down, and Seattle has to go down. Or Vikings win, Packers lose, Seattle loses, and New Orleans loses. The other piece should have been a Tampa Bay loss. New Orleans can clinch, and I can't believe I'm going to say this aloud. New Orleans can clinch the NFC South with a win or a Tampa Bay loss or tie, or New Orleans tie and a Tampa Bay loss. They clinch the playoff berth with a win, a Seattle loss or tie, and a Green Bay loss or tie. Or New Orleans ties, Seattle loses, and Green Bay loses. Are you catching up with this? The Eagles locked in at the number 5 seed, but that may change. They can clinch the East Division with a win or a Dallas loss. That's the simplest scenario. The Seahawks clinch a playoff berth with a win or a Green Bay loss or tie. The Buccaneers can clinch the NFC South by simply winning. And they face Carolina at 1 p.m. on Fox. The Seahawks go to Arizona at 4:25 on Fox. Eagles and the Giants, 4:25 on CBS. So there's football all over the place. There's football all over the place, man. And brother, I'm going to have fun watching all these scenarios play out because the two teams I picked to go to the Super Bowl are already in as the number 1 seeds. That's Baltimore, and that's my 49ers. Well, hope you enjoyed all those clinching scenarios, and they're going to get even crazier as we go along. One more break, and when you all get back, I'm going to shut Cam Newton up once and for all. Back after this.
everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids on the block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
For those of you watching on BS3 TV, don't forget every Friday, it's Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Again, thank you to those of you watching on BS3 TV, as well as Zebo TV out of Reno, Nevada, and all of our radio affiliates. Okay. Tomorrow on the program, it's Wednesday, so you're going to see a few of these.
This moment of bronze sexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked On.
Oh, not that. Although that's a part of it. As I mentioned, tomorrow's Wednesday on the program, you're going to see a few of these.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronzexual Confessions.
That is tomorrow. Because yes, LeBron, it is you. It has always been you. It always will be you. Forever and ever. Amen. Now with all that out of the way, down the stretch we come, and Cam Newton said that Brock Purdy is a game manager. My friend Trey Larkins, whom I love very dearly, says Brock Purdy is a game manager. And one bad game made them reinforce what they're doing. Made them reinforce what they believe. I beg your pardon. Well, I'm going to shut them up once and for all with this. Okay, Cam Newton. Okay, Trey Larkins, and everybody else that thought that Brock Purdy was just a game manager after the one bad game against Baltimore where he tossed 4 interceptions. I have a question for you. Does a game manager set a team record for passing yards in a season? Does a game manager become the third quarterback in a storied team's history with a 4,000-yard season? Does a game manager on the cusp of a 70% completion rate, and Steve Young is the only other quarterback to do that, just so you know. So he's in good company. Throw for 30-plus touchdowns, only 11 interceptions, 4,280 yards, and have a passer rating of plus 100 in both the seasons where he's been a starter. 67.1% completion percentage last year, 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You had to know that he was going to go through some growing pains. And he did. He went through some growing pains, doggone it. But you're talking about a quarterback in his second full season. If you really want to think about it, his first full season, ... as a starter. Let me ask you this, and I'll ask it again and again and again. Does a game manager, and listen, I have to appreciate Cam for calling out what a game manager is and what a game changer is. Lamar Jackson is very much a game changer. Patrick Mahomes is very much a game changer. But I'm going to switch the opinion of Cam Newton by saying Brock Purdy is a game changer. Did you see the touchdown that he threw against the Washington Redskins, where he basically playgrounded and found Brandon Ayuk in the back of the end zone? Did you see that? Huh? How about the move the 49ers made to go all in on Brock Purdy? Not Trey Lance, not Jimmy Garoppolo, but Brock Purdy. If you think about it, honestly, they went on Jimmy Garoppolo, but then Garoppolo got hurt. And they cut ties with Jimmy Garoppolo after the season. Brock Purdy is the man, period. And I'm sick and tired of people using the weapons that he has. I don't know, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George the Animal Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Jawan Jennings. Yeah, all of them. I'm sick and tired of people using all of the 49ers weapons against them. Don't you want to have the best team on the field? And don't you want the best person to lead you to a championship? Now, the last 2 times the Niners were in the NFC Championship, they lost. Dig it. All right? Dig it. They lost to the Rams and lost to Philadelphia. And they had no chance against Philadelphia when Hassan chopped the ball free from Brock Purdy and injured him on a totally clean play, by the way. This season should have proven to you all season long how much of a game changer Brock Purdy is. And he's a game changer because of his maturity, how much he has grown, how much he has learned, how much he has bounced back from adversity. Because let's be honest, he got his butt kicked against the Cincinnati Bengals, and he got his butt kicked against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm trying to avoid the swear jar. He got his butt kicked. Granted. Truth. But he bounced back. And I don't want to hear one word of people saying, "Oh, it's just Washington. Washington's taking anyway." Shut up. Shut up. If you're not going to make that excuse for Lamar Jackson, you can't make it for Brock Purdy. These are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. I said it, and I mean every damn word of it. What they did on Christmas night was provide a very small preview of what could be a big-time matchup in Las Vegas. Let me say that again for those of you in the cheap seats at Old Memorial Stadium and at Old Candlestick Park. One more time for those of us in the cheap seats at Old Candlestick Park and Old Memorial Stadium. Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy are two of the best in the league, and what they provided on Christmas night was a small preview of what could be a potentially huge track meet of a matchup on February 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Period. And by the way, Cam Newton, let me deal you one of these. While I'm thinking about it, let me ask the questions again. Does a game changer throw for the most yards in team history break a record that hasn't been broken since 2000? Does a game changer bounce back from adversity? You said so yourself, Cam Newton. There are times you should have been a game manager, and there are times you should have been a game changer, and you didn't know the difference. Hey, Cam Newton, how about that year in New England? How did that go for you? Now, I'm done with that. All this talk from people saying Brock Purdy is nothing but a game manager needs to cease. And it needs to cease right now. And I already know what the next retort is. Well, he hasn't done it in the playoffs. Wrong. He won 2 in the same playoff year, something Dak Prescott has never done. He won 2 games in a single playoff season. Matter of fact, Jimmy Garoppolo did it twice. How do you like them apples? Because if you can make that silly argument about who's a game manager and a game changer, and you can put Jimmy Garoppolo in the sentence of a game manager, you can also put him in the sentence of a game changer because of the fact that he won 2 playoff games in the same season 2 times. Brock Purdy is on his way to greatness. My buddy Charles Faulkner, Dr. Faulkner, I love to call him, the Sarge, the sergeant, as I mentioned, Dr. Faulkner, whom I love talking to, said it best. People just don't appreciate greatness. Lamar Jackson has locked up the MVP. Let's just go ahead and put that out there, okay? Lamar Jackson has locked up the MVP, and I have no problem saying that. But how dare you sell Brock Purdy short for the way that he bounced back against Washington? And not just after that, but after the loss to Cincinnati, he gets a bye week to heal, and he comes back and wrecks shop. He's only lost once, and that was to the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas night in a hell of a performance by the Baltimore Ravens. And I just put a quarter in the swear jar. Darn it. But I don't mind saying all of that. San Francisco and Brock Purdy lost to a better team. They had a better scheme, and they were ready on Christmas night. We're going to be ready for them come Super Bowl Sunday. And if it sounds like I'm pushing all of my chips to the middle of the table, then so be it. Do it in the playoffs, they say. Do it in the playoffs. He won't be able to do it in the playoffs. He already has. Don't you get that? He already has. You know the best part? He's going to do it again. And again and again and again. Game changer? Forgive me. That's Snowman's take. What is yours? Don't forget, coming up on Friday, NHL Friday makes its debut. Blackhawks and Devils from the Prudential Center. I'll have the call here in studio on the alternative play-by-play. 6:30 is the stream time. 7 o'clock is the face-off time. And I got to get out of here because I have to go to Indianapolis. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. So long, everybody. See you tomorrow.